It was the DeRozan show in Big D tonight. 42 points, including the game winner, 129 to 128 in overtime. What an exciting game. And the Kings pull it out at the end thanks to DeRozan.
Hey, you got to be encouraged when you turn the ball over like they do. Dallas converts as much as they did on those turnovers. And you win. Yeah, Grant, you win ugly. Somebody asked me on the pregame show, they said, if you're going to win and you're the Kings, how many assists do you need to have? Said 28 bare minimum. That's what they end with. I think, though, 30 is the number. If the Kings are at 30, usually they're probably going to win ball games.
Yeah, obviously the numbers are skewed a little bit because the game went an extra 5 minutes. But both teams had chances to win, right? Both teams had chances to win. And the Kings got the big shots. Obviously, the second missed free throw by Sabonis that was rebounded by Monk and put back was a huge part. That actually put Sacramento up by 4, but then Dallas scored the next 5, Klay Thompson with the 3. But DeRozan, what can you say about him? It's first time as a King that he scored 40 or more points.
Brilliant. 8 of 8 from the free throw line, too, in a night where the Kings really got a bad whistle. I'm going to be honest. They played through it. They got a bad whistle, Grant. Surprised Doug didn't get teed up. But hell of a win. Hell of a win by them. Well done.
Both teams shot poorly from the free throw line. And, Dallas, we know about their injuries. We know about their situation. Now the Kings and the Mavs are even in the loss column with 26 losses. And the Kings now have 2 wins against Dallas. So keep that in mind.
And quietly, Sacramento plays well in Dallas. They won both meetings last year in Dallas. And a quick shout out, by the way, to Kessler Edwards, ex-King. He had spent the last couple of years here. Many times would be on assignment in Stockton. I had the pleasure of talking to him many times. To see him always ready for an opportunity. He's been starting some games for the Mavericks and playing well. I love seeing it. So good job, Kess.
Yeah, one thing about last year, I would say the Kings got very fortunate playing the Mavs last year.
Say that. Yeah.
The night before they were. Well, the night before in one game, they were in Milwaukee, and then the other game, they didn't have Luka. But you still got to win. Listen, the Mavs were shorthanded tonight. Everybody knew they were shorthanded. You're at the point of the season right now where you just got to figure out how to win. You got to take advantage of these opportunities because now you have, I think, the worst team right now in basketball coming up next in New Orleans. You got to win both games.
See, you and I see that differently. I agree you got to win both games, but they are not the worst team in basketball.
Well, they're the worst team in the Western Conference.
Yes, I'll give you that. Worst net rating in the West, but a lot of that has to do with the combinations they were playing earlier in the season. I would say they're the most dangerous worst team in the NBA.
The game that the Kings must absolutely win is the game that Zion plays because he's probably not going to play in both. So the game that he plays, and again, he doesn't even play 30 minutes. Again, tonight, he played less than 30. Against the Kings the other night, he played less than 30 and scored, 40? But you've got to win that game. The game that he plays, you have to win. Because the game that he doesn't play, you should steamroll them.
Spot on. There's a lot to talk about, Grant, in this one. We want to hear from you some different lineups. You finally got to see your 2 bigs on the court together, some forcing of the basketball with mismatches. So we can get to all of it. Use the QR code that is on the screen. Also, you can use the link that is in the chat. We will repost that right now. Before we do that, thank you very much for the super chat, Matthew R. One of the better offensive performances I have seen from DeRozan in a long time. Katie entertained a free throw conspiracy against the Kings. Horrible.
Katie is quickly eroding any credibility that she has with the comments that she's been making on Kings telecast. That's the way I'll say it.
Fair enough. She may or may not have not realized the Kings were up 2 and not down 2 there in overtime. Not sure.
How could you not realize that?
I maybe it was a roundabout way of making a point of what Dallas might do on a hypothetical if the Kings scored. Anyways, Essie, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Grant? What's going on, Ryan?
Hey there.
I think I was very I'm really happy about tonight's result. I think as I was kind of jotting down some notes to myself, at halftime, I just noticed that Levine had 5 turnovers. And I think he's trying really hard to get the ball to Sabonis to take advantage of those mismatches, but that slows down the Kings offense. And I just think the Kings fumbled a lot of times trying to, when they saw Kessler Edwards on Sabonis trying to get the ball to him. So hopefully they clean that up. I'm sure it's going to come with time. And overall, very happy with their performance. One last thing that I noticed was when we were up with like, I don't know, 15 seconds left, I don't understand why we didn't just hold the ball
Yeah.
and
I
make
don't
them
either.
foul us. That was a
Makes
little
no
bit of
sense
a,
to me.
yeah. But other than
I was
that,
shocked. I was shocked when DeRozan went in for a layup and obviously missed it and gave Dallas the chance in which Klay hit the three. I don't understand what you're thinking there.
yeah, that I don't know if Doug told them to be aggressive and go for it, maybe try to draw a foul. I don't know. But anyways, that's all I saw. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate you, Essie. He hit on it. So let's go very, very quickly to the whiteboard. 2 examples of what Essie is talking about. And I think really an example of what the Kings did all game that caused many of these turnovers. This was off of a switch. Keegan Murray posting up a mismatch on Kyrie Irving, and the Kings, instead of swinging it really quick and swinging it back around, or just getting a quick reset and getting a better angle for the pass, he's on his heels trying to get this pass over the top to Keegan Murray. That is not going to work. That resulted in a turnover. Keon Ellis making it there. And this is more of what Essie was talking about as we bring up the bigger picture. And this was not just a Zach LaVine thing tonight. This was also a Malik Monk thing tonight, Grant. Look at the separation between Domantas Sabonis and Malik Monk here, and Zach LaVine. Hardly anything. He tries to make this pass between Gafford, I believe that is. You can't make that pass in the NBA. Malik did that in the fourth quarter, and you had a slew of turnovers throughout the game that were very similar mistakes like this that in turn slowed the basketball game up for sure in the half court when you're forcing it.
Well, we talk about spacing. You can see the spacing was terrible there.
Awful.
And you're right. A defender was able to guard 2 guys.
Yep.
The Kings are fortunate to win. You'll take it. You get ready for New Orleans. I've said this, and I'm going to continue to say this. Results matter. That's why you have standings. But I'm looking at how the Kings are playing right now more than I'm looking at whether they're winning or losing the games. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer. This team's got to get a lot better with the schedule they have coming up, or they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think the solace that you take is LaVine is definitely not firing on all cylinders.
Correct.
Doesn't get to the free throw line once. He was one of the guys that I thought got a particularly bad whistle tonight. So that should improve. His 3-point shooting has been atrocious since coming to Sacktown. So you hope that balances things out. So we're going to give this guy a fast pass because we know that he is on the East Coast and a big friend
Nico,
of the
what's up,
channel.
buddy?
Nico, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you guys?
How are you?
Good. Hey, not too late.
Real quickly,
Yeah.
What's the temperature outside there in Syracuse?
Let's see. We got 23. Feels like 14.
Shorts
my
weather,
God.
Napes. Shorts weather for Nico.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a cold winter. There's a couple feet of snow on the ground right now. So,
Wow.
anyways, good win tonight. I know I will say one thing I want to circle in on a little bit is we talk about clutch time for Fox, DeRozan. Could they do it together? They kind of did, maybe through the first part of the season, but I think this is one of the first games we've actually seen DeRozan be able to do his whole thing in the fourth quarter and even in overtime.
He was great.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, his takeover mode is different than Fox's because they both have different styles, obviously. But the way DeRozan was able to get to his spot, splitting defenders there in that last game-winning shot was incredible. And I just want your guys' kind of takeaways on what you've seen from DeRozan standalone in the fourth compared to what DeRozan maybe brought to the table.
Well, I've been watching it his whole career, whether he was in Toronto or San Antonio or wherever he was, Chicago. That's what he's done his whole career. I mean, he is an all-star player over his career for a reason. And he's a special talent, especially when he's in a groove. There are guys in the NBA that are very difficult and near impossible to guard when they've got it going, and he's one of them. I mean, he's done this his whole career. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Nico, for me, it's as DeMar gets older, his ability to create space, as he gets older, that gets so much harder. You know what's coming. It's the old saying of football teams, here's the play, we're just going to run it, and we're going to run it better even if you know it. And the fact that he is able to draw the fouls he does and demands the respect from the referees, it's incredible that he's doing this at 35 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable what he's doing right now. And I just think it was, the question was always, could him and De'Aaron do it together? Since they're both pretty clutch guys. Now it's obviously up to DeRozan because De'Aaron's gone, and I think he's doing just fine. So now it's a matter of everyone obviously getting practice time and trying to figure that thing out. Because I agree with Grant. This team, it's not 100% at all. It's not even close. No. But a win is a win, and I think at some point you have to take that into consideration, considering there's only a month or two left for the regular season, and seeing what you can do from there, and give this team a little bit of respect because there's been hardly any practice time, and they're still on the road. So we'll see what happens. Grant, I know you said maybe the next two games aren't must wins. Ryan, I know you said they were with New Orleans, or no, it was vice versa.
Opposite.
Yeah.
I don't think they're must wins, but I mean, you're playing a team that's the worst record, has the worst record in the Western Conference, that has now lost 9 games in a row. You need to win both games.
I would agree. I just think it's we've seen this team over the years. It's always playing at the level of competition, and I could see a 1-on-1. I would hope for 2-0, but we'll see what happens. I think we can really evaluate this team probably right after the All-Star break when they finally get a chance to sit down and practice a little bit. But the Sabonis and Valanciunas combination on the court is going to be interesting as well. So,
yep.
Anyways, that's all I have to say. Thanks for getting me on here. And hey, it's not as late as a game as it would be in California. So,
amen. Nico, take care, buddy. Good hearing from you.
Yep.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Be well. He's got big things in his future.
Did a great job at Syracuse.
Yep.
Junior. He just sent me his last basketball play-by-play tape that he did in Clemson with his buddy, the women's basketball game between Clemson and Syracuse. Nico, I'm sure you saw it, but I gave you my feedback in an email earlier today. Great job, buddy. And I love your hockey play-by-play. He's doing basketball. He's doing hockey. He does volleyball. The guy's killing it at Syracuse.
Yeah, maybe someday he'll be calling Kings games. You never know.
I wouldn't put it past him. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Jacob, welcome in on a win night.
Actually, I'd hire him right now if it were up to me. Anyway, go ahead.
Hi, guys. So I've been seeing that the ownership group has been a big topic of conversation on the show. So I wanted to chime in with my 2 cents of what I personally think are the biggest positives and negatives of the Vivek era and see what your thoughts are. So obviously the big positive was him saving the team from going to Seattle. We often forget, especially the younger fans, about just how close that was to becoming a reality. But with that being said, the big negative is that he is raising a whore daughter that loves BBC. Thanks.
Let's get back to the game tonight. I don't even know what to say. So I want to talk about defense, right? After DeRozan misses the layup, you're up by 2.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you cannot allow in that situation is a 3. Klay Thompson got a 3. We know Klay's been doing this his whole career. Did you have a problem with the way the Kings defended that, or do you just think that's Klay Thompson being Klay Thompson?
No, it was bad defense. They're not. They were. It was a trend that we saw all night. We looked at one of the pictures at halftime, not calling out screens, not knowing whether you're going to red or AKA switch, as they call them. So yeah, that's a problem. That's how many people, Grant, on that court can't have that ball. It's Max Christie, Klay Thompson, and Kyrie Irving.
Right.
So I guess out of those 3, the way this game was going, is he the one that you would give the look to?
I would never give Klay Thompson a look at the with the game on the line. Now, obviously, they lost, but he ended up 5 of 10 from distance, and he's money. I wouldn't give him that shot.
Yep, I'm with you. Force him to go too. You always talk about fouling. They were only, yeah.
I just, again, I think people are putting too much emphasis on a few practices for the stretch run after the All-Star break. I don't think a few practices is going to be like a magic wand for this team. This team, to me, still has issues that, based on the current roster, I don't see getting better this year. Okay, they're still a poor defensive team. They're a poor defensive team against the three, and they don't have a point guard that's a natural point guard that is an issue. And unless somebody is on the waiver wire that you look at and go, wow, he could really help us, that's going to remain the same. Devin Carter's in the G League, which, by the way, I think is a good move by the organization. But I also will point out, other than injury rehab, when's the last lottery pick of the Kings that was sent to the G League? It's not good. And I understand he didn't have summer league.
Yeah.
I understand he didn't have training camp. I'd be very concerned about that. But we both talked about this last week, that we were in favor of him going to the G League. So I'm not upset about it. I'm looking at the big picture. He's got a ways to go.
He does. It's the offensive end where he needs the work. And quite frankly, the work that he needs on the offensive end can't be fixed this season. That's an off-season thing. He needs to work on his handles. That's your point of emphasis. But at least getting comfortable with the game, getting comfortable with the system. Yep. One of the really big things that Stockton does, and not every G League team does this, is they run the same system as the Kings. They don't just roll the ball out there and say, two-way guys, go score 50 points. So you're simulating similar looks to what he's going to get here. They push the ball, make or miss. So I think it's a good thing overall.
In retrospect, he should have spent more time in the G League before being brought up to play with the big boys.
And that, that decision was largely Devin's decision. And so whether you put any of that on the Kings or not, it was up to him and his body and how his body responded. And the fact that they felt like, do you think it was a little bit of a desperate move at that point?
Yes, because the Kings were really playing poorly at that point. Yes, it was desperate.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's go back to the phones. Kazi, we see you. Jake, we see you. Keezy, we see you. First, Jay.
How you guys doing?
Jay, what's happening?
Well, tonight, there was some questionable playmaking decisions closer to the end of the game. Close to the end of regulation, Malik Monk dribbles the ball, starts to play about 8 seconds left in the game. I think that's a little too late. And he tries to go to the two-man game with Domas. And I think in a situation like that, you have to be willing to die on your sword a little bit and take that shot. He jumped in the air, which is, in my opinion, wasn't very smart, because now he's taking away what he can do. Now you have a split second. Are you going to shoot the ball or are you going to pass it? Because when you come down, it's trouble. So I think that if he was able to possibly start that sequence a little sooner and we had a little bit more of a game plan, it didn't really look like it for that last play, maybe we wouldn't be in an overtime situation. And then you have the DeMar DeRozan going for a layup with 17 seconds left. That's kind of questionable. Actually, that's really questionable.
11 seconds left.
Yeah, that's a very questionable decision as well.
It was a bad decision. I mean, because let's face it, if the Kings had lost this game by a point, that's all we would be talking about on the postgame show right now. We wouldn't be talking about anything else. This would be dominating the conversation, despite the fact that he would have ended up with 40, okay, because he would have missed. We would have all been talking about what on earth is he thinking about there. But 100%. It worked out because they got lucky.
And it did look like he had an open lane. To his credit,
doesn't matter.
No, I know it doesn't matter. I agree that there's no why even chance it. Why even chance it?
To me, that was the decision. If we're going to look at the two decisions you're talking about, the DeMar decision was the one that I'd be more concerned about. Just like we put the graphic up, Monk had so little space, and Grant said it perfectly. You have one guy guarding two people. These guys are so long. If you just put the ball right there, they're going to grab it.
Yeah. And then the Monk trying to take the charge from 50, 60 feet out That's very risky because you're in the bonus. You guys are both in the bonus, and it's one wrong call or it doesn't go in your favor. You're out of timeouts. There's no challenge. That's very tough. That's a tough one. I wouldn't have done that if I was Malik. I'm not sure what he was thinking. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, with that time left, they have to go. If they make a 75-foot shot, at the buzzer to win the game, I'll live with that. But no, I don't know what Malik's thinking there. I really don't.
I don't know. Maybe they had a foul to give, but still, you didn't. Yeah, so then it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm not sure why. Thank God it was.
Can you imagine if they had 2 free throws at the end of the game to win?
Oh, I would have been. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, it would have been 3.
Oh well, they would have won because I think we were only up by 1 or 2.
1. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have won that game if that call didn't go our way. And then lastly, I know a lot of Kings fans are upset about the All-Star snubs of DeMontis and not being considered to be a reserve. First of all, I wouldn't even want that title if I was DeMontis. I wouldn't even want to participate in the first place. But a lot of Kings fans are also saying, "Wow, Kyrie Irving is so good. I didn't know he was doing this still." He's a 50, 40, 90 player today, and he's doing this, what he did today, every game, just like Domas. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, was that the right call from the NBA to have Kyrie Irving?
So you replaced a big with a small.
They did.
Okay, that's my point. Why would you replace a big with a small instead of a big with a big? Ryan gave it his thoughts at halftime, and his reasoning makes a lot of sense because of what the NBA wants in an All-Star game. But there is a thing called deserving to go to an All-Star game, and more importantly, earning your way into an All-Star game. Domantas has done both, and he got screwed by the coaches last week, and today he got screwed by the commissioner, Adam Silver.
Fair enough.
Yep. And look, they had a way to fix this. You're only doing 12-man squads on the All-Stars, and you doing this 4-team or a format where you're going to take
eight guys, 3 teams of 8, so 24 total.
No, but they're taking then the winning team of the Rising Stars game.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is what you should have done is go to the NBA roster size, take 3 extra All-Stars on both conference, and then take the MVP of each team in the Rising Stars game. That makes up your 4 teams. And that's how many guys are on a roster anyways for an NBA game. So
the whole thing, the whole setup is just wackadoodle. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. Maybe, I don't know. I have a feeling, Grant, you're not going to watch it.
I'm not watching one second of All-Star Weekend, but in all fairness, I never have, other than when I think the last All-Star game I watched was in the early 2000s when the Kings used to have 2 or 3 guys on there. But I haven't watched, honestly, I haven't watched an All-Star game in 20 years. And in all fairness, part of the reason was during the All-Star break, after announcing so many games and doing shows, I normally took a few days off. And the last thing I wanted to do on my days off during the All-Star break was watch basketball.
Sure.
Yeah, I get it.
Jay, it's really interesting because some of the people that I talk with that are friends that cover the team or sources or whatnot, it's right here in the Kings' backyard. And unless they have kids, they're not going. And if they are going, it's only for Saturday night. They don't want to be there for the All-Star.
Well, tickets are very expensive. I was just browsing just to browse, but it's kind of crazy to me. But yeah, anyway, I'll hop out. You guys get a lot of calls, and I'll be here.
All right, brother. Be well.
Well, the Lakers are playing the Jazz, and with a minute left in the half, it's 67-47. Luka has 10 points in the starting lineup for the Mavs. Before we move on and continue, I want to tell you about our fabulous sponsors. And we start with this display in the bottom right-hand corner. That is my New York that I want freaking now. Bennett's. Oh, yeah. 3 locations, of course. You've got the West Side Grill in Rockland, Roseville, Sacramento, Prime Seafood and Steak at Bennett's Restaurants. Don't forget about their outstanding weekend brunch coming up Saturday and Sunday. Prime Seafood and Steaks at Bennett's. Make a reservation and more. Bennett'sRestaurants.com.
Making me hungry. You threw me off track. I prepare mentally for the Bennett's to be the second one. You hit me with the first one.
I change it up.
All right. Fair enough. I like it. Fresh approach. Kazzy, light the beam.
DeMar DeRozan, you've been in the league for 16 years. What the hell are you doing? Okay, that's my thought for that. Grant Ryan, do you think Levine is actually a bad fit?
Too early to tell, but way too early to tell. I mean,
okay.
You need a minimum of 10 games before you can make any type of a comment like that, in my opinion.
I need a minimum of 10 games with a point guard on the floor.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Ryan, you were saying that there's point guards out there. What one's kind of caught your eye in free agency right now?
I got to see who's still available. There were no names that are really flashy. Jerry mentioned DeLon Wright, if it could possibly work out there. I'm not sure if Patty Mills found a landing spot. I think Patty Mills might be a decent option if he's got a little bit of traction left on the tires. Guys of that.
I don't remember the last time I watched the game where I said, boy, Patty Mills can still play.
Define play.
Ooh, not kill the team when he's on the floor. I mean, he's as Jerry, to borrow one of Jerry's terms, he's a dead horse.
Hey, Grant, right back at you to borrow one of your terms. So, do you think Anthony Davis and Marvin Bagley shower together? Because you once said that.
Hey! What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Seriously. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I understand you were trying to make a joke, but stop it, would you please? As far as the Mavericks go, they're very close to falling off the cliff. Not only were they without basically their entire front line tonight, but then in the first half, right? In the first half, they lose another big who played only 10 minutes. They lost Daniel Gafford, who played 10 minutes. And, I'm not so sure the Kings win this game if he's on the floor in the second half, because he's not that bad, but he's not Anthony Davis. He's not, the Mavs I could see just falling right off the map here.
I'm not ready to go there yet. I was actually pretty impressed with the way that they scrambled. You had guys that rarely played get minutes tonight at the guard position, even the small forward position. So they scramble better than the Kings have when they're missing that many pieces.
There's very, very true. Very true.
Let's go back to the phones. Jake, what's going on tonight, Jake?
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's happening?
Fuck you, Grant.
People love me. You know what? We only take calls the rest of this show from people that we know and we like. And one of them is NBA guru Zach. What's up, Zach? How are you? What do you think of the finish tonight?
It was a good ending for DeRozan. There was a couple things. Didn't like him taking that shot at the end. So I don't know what he was thinking there for a seasoned veteran to do that, but he made up for it, I guess. And yeah, you guys have talked about earlier, Monk just getting in the way of that. That could have been really, really ugly. I mean, man, it's tough. It's tough to be happy about the game because they don't have AD, they didn't have Gafford, and we barely won the game. We're fully healthy. And Dallas, we gave up a lot of good threes that they made as usual. Klay Thompson was wide open on that three-pointer. That was disastrous right off the inbounds pass. Also, Katie, man, I hate ripping on her, but she was pretty bad in that last 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. She thought the ball was touched she thought the hoop was touched by the net for somebody else on the team or something. She was just totally off on everything. And I think when we were up by 2 with 15 seconds left, that she said Kings have time to try to find the best shot for them or something like that. I mean, I don't know what it's just tough to watch. But I was also trying to talk about the playoff standings. I mean, the Kings are half a game away from the 8th seed, and Warriors are really looking actually pretty good right now. with Jimmy Butler on this team. So in my opinion, I think the Warriors are going to get ahead of the Kings just for how the season will play out. It's Dallas or Phoenix that I think is the other.
You realize the Kings are a half game from 11th too, right?
This is a little bit older. I think we have 27 wins, I believe.
That's correct. You're a half game from 11th place in the West. You're right about, looking at it in 8th.
Right.
But I keep talking about this, and I'm going to continue to keep talking about this. After the Pelicans, okay? After the Pelicans coming out of the All-Star break, and Ryan, can you put that schedule up again for us, please?
Gotcha.
Zach, after the All-Star break, and we keep on talking about this, right? You open up with the new look Warriors. Then you should have a cakewalk in the next 2 games against Charlotte and Utah. Then you're at Houston, at Dallas, which who the hell knows, at Denver. Fox comes in. Then you're at the Clippers. You got the Knicks, who you can't beat because you don't match up with them. You're at Golden State, at Phoenix. Then how about this stretch? Here's the stretch. Memphis at home, Cleveland at home. The next night, Chicago at home, Milwaukee at home, Boston at home. Next night, Oklahoma City at home, Portland at home. That's murderer's row, with the exception of maybe Chicago. All of those games are going to be brutal. That's murderer's row right there.
Yeah, Kings. I mean, it's a tough schedule. I'm just looking at the remaining schedule right now. Kings have the 11th, the most difficult, and Phoenix actually has the most difficult. So that actually bodes well for us. They have a 55% strength of schedule, which is pretty crazy.
I'm not worried about Phoenix. I think Phoenix is a mess, personally. I do. And it's only a matter of time before Durant gets hurt again.
What, you wouldn't pay the $160+ million luxury tax, Napes, for that team?
Probably not.
It's a lot of Bennett's ribeyes, man.
But I'll tell you this: the Warriors, don't sleep on them right now.
Yep.
They went into Milwaukee tonight, and they look good.
Well, you know the element that they're getting now, because they didn't have much big man play. Jimmy Butler's getting to the free throw line. He got there 13 times tonight, Zach.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And the Kings, I think their peak is pretty much 8th seed. Just looking at the standings, I don't see them get to 7th. I don't see them climbing to beat the Wolves. I think they're looking good. The Clippers, I just don't know. I mean, they got the win today, but I mean, they're grazing against some of these teams. They should have. I mean, they just trapped Kyrie most of the game and stuff, which was good near the end. But I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of great potential from this team.
I'm not either. I'm sorry, I'm not. And I think that their lack of a point guard against the teams that I just mentioned is going to bite them. And here's the other deal. The Kings right now are 100% healthy. And the chances of them remaining 100% healthy for the rest of the season are not great. And if they should lose DeRozan for a period of time, or if they lose Monk for any period of time, they're done. If they lose Malik Monk for a week, they won't win a game. They will not win a game without Monk. Who's gonna play that position, guys?
You could say the same thing about Sabonis too. I think too.
Well, so I should have mentioned Sabonis.
Yeah.
You're right.
I would say Keegan Murray. What are you going to do defensively? I'm being dead serious. Defensively, he is your rock right now.
Yeah, he's the only wing, the true, real wing that we have.
I mean, that's one that I would worry about greatly. You saw what they did in Denver, or against Denver. Without
I got to give them props. I mean, their offense, they shot 55% today, which is pretty good. That's just really efficient. But I think they could improve on the turnovers. They had 20 today, so that's something I think. Yeah, I think once they get to know each other a little bit more, some practices after All-Star break, hopefully that fixes up and they'll be all right there. But just defensively, as usual, 3-point pointers, stuff like that. And and like you guys always mention the point guard. It's just, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think their peak is 8th seed, and we can drop down to 11th if Spurs get hot or Phoenix still stays around. But
don't forget about Portland. They Portland's beating them too. What do you think about this question, guys?
Zach, you want to
Says
take a stab at it
didn't do
first?
anything in the first half of this game, but got something going in the second. Can the Kings get him involved earlier by drawing up plays for him, or does he have to demand the ball? We talk about this a lot, Ryno.
Yeah, Keegan is not an ISO player. He's not a guy that's gonna really create for himself. You've got to draw something up if you're gonna get him involved. The Kings are running predominantly offense around the ISO. You're not gonna have the ball in his hands off of a pick and roll. So if you want him involved, you got to make a point of doing so.
It's too hard. I mean, you got Zach LaVine has to have the ball. Monk has to have the ball. DeRozan wants his shots. I mean, it's just too many people that are going to take their 15, 20 shots. Keegan just doesn't have that chance. I mean, he definitely has to be a little bit more aggressive. And if like Ryno's saying, they got to make more of a point of it to make those play calls out of timeout, stuff like that to get Keegan going. But I mean, yeah, the best for me is just to get him going in the very beginning of the game, see if he can get hot. And I think that'll continue for the rest of the game for his momentum.
Yeah, they ran a set play right out of the gate for Zach LaVine. Some of the best games the Kings have had, they've gotten Keegan going through sets very early, as recently as the play-in game against the Warriors.
Zach, I'll give you a final word, Zach.
If we get those two gimmies soon with Utah and Charlotte, those are our next two. Is that correct?
No, it's at New Orleans. At New Orleans.
I feel like we're going to split those.
All right. Well, Zach, you're an NBA guru and you don't even know who the Kings play next. That's not good, Zach.
Oh.
Right? Well, hey, listen, I'm sorry. Come on, Zach. You're an NBA guru. You were talking about the Kings and you don't even know who the hell they play in the next two games. Come on now.
He's too busy.
Come on, Zach. Come on.
Grant. A lot of attention goes to those meter ramps, man. A lot of attention, Grant.
You know what? You are 100% correct. And it is now time for a rant with Grant, brought to you by EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. David and Adam, they will sell your vehicle for you. That's right. They are ready to make you an offer. Just give them a call. You have their email, info@edhmotors.com, or you can go to edhmotors.com, their website. Long overdue new concept. Two guys trying to do something different and better at the El Dorado Hills Town Center. That's right. The El Dorado Hills Town Center in their auto lounge. So you don't have to go to a dealership and deal with all of that. Check them out. All right. edhmotors.com. That's edhmotors.com. And don't forget, if you're looking to sell your vehicle, these guys will get it done for you. That's edhmotors.com and EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. Zach, are we going to get into it again, Zach? Like, I've given you a break on these damn lights getting on the freeway. All right? I lost my voice. Look, my voice is still not 100%, Zach, because last week I got trapped. That's right. Not stopped. I was freaking trapped. I was trapped on a ramp trying to get on the highway. Learn how to freaking drive. Learn how to merge into traffic. All right? I don't need a light on a long ramp getting onto a freeway. Zach, we appreciate your calls. You got a great background, right? You want to be with Charles and Kenny and Shaq and Ernie. I like that. Looks good. Creative. I like it. Zach, we're talking about the schedule. You got the two teams wrong that they're playing? Come on, Zach. Let's get your head in the game. All right? What are you? You're an engineer, right? How about an engineer of getting on your laptop and having the freaking schedule right out in front of you so that when we're discussing these things, because I got to tell you something, Zach, you started off your rant by talking about how it was not a good game for Katie, particularly at the end. Well, Zach, at the end of your call, that was a mirror image of Katie tonight based on all of the comments that we're getting on our chat line and on my phone on a nightly basis. So, Zach, maybe you were thinking of Katie's ineptitude tonight at the end of the game, and you're like, you know what? I want to be just like Katie. So you got the games wrong. That could be it. That's what I'm thinking, Zach. Zach, we still love you, buddy, but get your head in the game. All right? Come on now. Especially if you're going to rip Katie, you got to do better than that. Got to know who the hell the Kings are playing. That's my rant for tonight.
That's terrible.
And we had the schedule on the screen for him too. Poor guy can't catch a break. Come on, Zachy. Good job, Grant. Good job. All right. So you did ask Kevin Durant, if it's actually Kevin Durant.
Yes.
So does he qualify as a guy we know?
Yeah, Kevin Durant was good the other night, even though, I did a rant on him, but yeah, he was good. I'd love to have KD back on the show.
What's up, KD?
Hey, what's up, Ryan? What's up, Mr. Napier?
What's up there, Mr. Durant? How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I enjoyed your last rant about me, and you cooked me, Grant. I didn't
Yeah, but you
expect
know
that.
what? It was all in good fun, KD. It was all in good
I
fun.
enjoyed every second of it, Mr. Napier. I enjoyed every second of it, believe me. But no, I was calling and I had a question for you guys. So Sabonis, right? He's an all NBA player, right?
He's a
Yes.
what? I'm sorry.
He's an
Yes.
all NBA player, right? Last year,
Yes.
last season.
Yeah,
Yes.
13.
So why does he get bullied with these smaller guys? Like there's Dallas didn't have any center, right? No centers. They're all injured. Why was he having a hard time? I don't
Well, I don't
understand.
know if I would agree with you that he was getting bullied. I'm looking at his numbers tonight. All right. I mean,
I know, but
I don't
numbers
know.
don't always tell the whole entire story, though.
I mean, he had 16 points, he had 15 rebounds and 8 assists. What is it that he did not do tonight that you would like to see him do? I think that would be a fair question.
I would like to see him go inside the key more often, more be more aggressive and not pass the ball so much. Demand the ball more and drive into the paint and get buckets. You're the biggest man on the floor. There's no Lively. There's no Gafford. There's no AD. You should be dominant, more dominant.
Got to
Fair
have the
point.
ball to be dominant.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I'm not Kevin Durant. I'm just a big time fan, obviously.
Well, you know what? And that's fine. And I was just giving you a hard time, right?
No, I know. I enjoyed every second. You should have seen me yesterday. I was laughing the whole time.
That's good. You're a good
Good.
sport. And thank you for calling the show again.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Ryno.
Thank you, man. That's good. See, I like that. There's a guy that has a sense of humor that can take it. He can dish it out. Just like me. If I dish it out, I got to be able to take it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you and Brad, good old Brad and Corona.
Oh my God. Many of the callers, many of the clones. We used to have fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what it's all about. It's good spirited. Let's go to Ralph. Don't prove me wrong. Ralph, what's up tonight?
Hey, how's it going? No,
Hello, Ralph.
I'm hopefully a good call. I mean, one thing you guys touched on was the Debo shot selection, and I'm just wondering. I was like, when I'm watching the broadcast, I was like, are they not going to even talk about how it was a bad shot at all? Like, it was really a brain dead play. He saved himself with that shot. With Klay going up for that three, and then us going down one, he would have cost us the game. You guys touched on that. I mean, I'm just surprised they didn't even mention it once in the broadcast. I'm thinking, did I see the score wrong? You know what I mean? I know, Ryno, you might have seen the home telecast, maybe not, but it was that part was puzzling. Like, how you don't even mention that.
Yeah, Ralph, really quick, and I haven't said this yet, but I think we need to point it out. If we're going to give Doug love, I think we got to push back, too, when mistakes are made. We've seen now Zach LaVine in Portland 2 quarters not know how much time was left on the clock. We've seen DeMar make this mistake, whether it was not knowing situation, clock, they were just coming out of a timeout. Amongst other things, the Kings have been poor executing out of timeouts as of late. The exception to the rule is when they convert. That, to me, falls to a level on the coach, guys.
It's inexperience is what it is.
Yeah, and that was my question too. Was that on Debo or was that on Christie? And maybe it was more of the play call, anticipating that he is going to get fouled, and then try to just go up for it. But
I mean,
I feel it's safer.
I don't know what was said during the timeout, but when you're a perennial all-star and you know what the score and the time is, and you've been in a situation like that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times over your basketball career, you shouldn't have to have a coach tell you, hey, we need to go to the foul line here. Don't take a shot. That's just basketball 101.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, he's too experienced. He's not Devin Carter. Like, yeah, you would think he would know better. Grant, you talked about with us not having a point guard. I think, too, and you guys had looked at the schedule, I think it's going to show itself more, not so much in these games, but not having a true backup in the tougher later part of after the All-Star break, because I feel like amongst my favorite player on the team personally, but there's a lot of pressure on him now, where I feel like
Yep.
he did get to shine, and there was less pressure with coming in and being the spark off the bench or being that second creator with number 5 before, and now
Oh no,
now
Ralph.
that it's all on him, they know it's coming. And Monk still finds a way to do it every
Yeah.
now and then, but it's not as potent when it's your primary option versus your secondary and tertiary action coming in.
Yeah, it's a decent point. The other thing too is guys are not moving for Malik. Guys are not moving. And I know when we talked about if the Kings were going to move Fox, one of my big considerations in that was you're going to get a point guard in the deal. Like
Right.
you have to have a point guard coming back. And with that not happening, yes, it puts a lot more attention on Malik Monk in that pick and roll. Almost probably too much attention. So they've got to be able to be multifaceted and be a threat in multiple areas of the half court set, not just one aspect.
Okay, and another thing too, maybe I missed this. Like, do you guys have a problem with the Kyrie All-Star selection, or you're not as bullish on it because it's not?
I have a
it's
real
not
problem
Domas?
with it. It's wrong.
Yeah, my first name that came to mind was it's either Powell. I know that would have been a second All-Star,
Right.
even though Harden was there. It would have been Powell and Domas first, of course, and then Powell. I didn't even
Right.
think that they would consider Kyrie. And I guess the positions don't matter when it's a replacement, but when you're talking about the coaches, I was like, okay, AD's a big. They're going to replace him with a big. I honestly, I'm not a huge conspiracist. I think it's to appease the fans that
I
Ralph,
kind of
Ralph, let's say
appeasing
if
the
like
fans.
Steph Curry got injured tonight and couldn't go to the All-Star game, I'm okay with naming Kyrie. I'm okay with replacing a
Yeah.
guard with a guard. I'm not okay with replacing a big with a small. And I know about the All-Star game. I know what they want, but it's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong.
Yeah, there's positions when you're voting. There's positions when
Yes.
the coaches are looking
Yes.
at their ballot, I'm sure.
Yes.
So why is it when the commissioner is deciding,
Bad move.
even with his Trae Young and Giannis, and he's a deserving candidate, but now the positions are out the window. I honestly think it's to appease the fans that were rioting and canceling their season tickets, so that way he can be like, okay, well, here's your All-Star. And now AD's gone. It looks even worse now if you look at the trade in totality.
Yeah.
He's gone for a month.
I think Grant, you tell me different, but I think Ralph makes a great point.
I think, Ralph, you make a fabulous point. I think you're spot on. And I'll tell you something else, Ralph. You were really good on this call. Don't be a stranger. Call again, okay?
Sounds good. All right, I'll see you guys.
Appreciate you.
Excellent job. Excellent
Good
job.
stuff.
Love new callers, especially guys that know what the hell they're talking about and can have a good conversation. Good stuff. Hey, New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you for your plumbing needs and repairs. They are available around the clock 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. It's right there for you, all the information, and they've been with us from day one. Appreciate the heck out of them and appreciate all of you that have reached out and talked about the great job they've been able to do for you. I send that information along to them, and they appreciate it. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you, and they're available around the clock.
Keezy, welcome in tonight.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hello.
How would you guys assess the job that Doug Christie's doing? I think he's doing a pretty good job, and I just like his moxie. He gives that glory days Kings feel back.
He's doing a good job. He took over a team when they were 6 games under 500, and right now they're a game over 500. So the totality of it, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I do question his rotations. You guys touched on it. I mean, the big was working, but I would like to see. Well, I would like to see Keegan play more. I don't know why he wasn't playing down the stretch and in overtime. But that substitution for Lyles, and I do believe he gave up that 3 to Thompson. That was Mike Brown-esque.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
No
buddy.
doubt. Thanks, Keezy. Good job by you. Good job. Way to get us back on track as always. Great callers coming up right now, too. Dirk, what's up?
Hey, yeah, I agree. A lot of really good points made today. Ralph nailed it, I think, because we heard Trae got announced early in the morning. I was like, okay, we're going to hear about this soon. Yet it wasn't until like almost game time that I heard Sabonis didn't get it. So they probably were having that discussion and thought Kyrie might help the situation. So super smart there. I agree with KD, too, a little bit of his criticism of Sabonis. Why did we have to run 2 bigs to take advantage of the big down low? And that's not all Sabonis' fault, right? Somebody needs to get him the ball down low. We got to look for that. but it shouldn't take two bigs to take advantage of none, right? So it's a fair criticism of Sabonis. And I agree with Zach as well in talking about how this team is performing. It doesn't seem like things are going to come quick with this team. There's going to be a lot of mistakes. They lack that playmaker. And I don't know if Reggie Jackson is going to come to this team, but they need somebody in the backup capacity because, we got a lot of new guys to incorporate here, and it can't just be all to our backup center, JV. And I don't trust the guys we brought in to really find the open guy. So what is the solution? Is there anything out there?
Not at the moment that I'm looking at.
I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot of the same. Unless I guess your wild card's Keon Ellis. He did a decent job bringing the ball up tonight, but still just those situations, those pick and rolls, still not the guy you want with the ball in your hand. Not going to put enough pressure on the defense. And Brian and those asking about Boogie Ellis, he has been injured a few times down in Stockton. He is not ready. He is not ready. Your most ready point guard between here and Stockton is Mason Jones.
Yeah, you've been pitching that, and that might be the best outcome. I mean, they'll need to find somebody in that role. I agree. Also, I think it was Zach who said, that two-man game with Sabonis and Monk. They know it's coming. Somebody's got to make this a trifecta, and this is where Keegan. We need to find a way to get him an easy bucket. Get a penetration cut somewhere. He can't just sit idly in this ISO game we're running. We need to find ways to get easy buckets. So we're going to have to reinvent some things. I think that's going to be the solution. But I will say I was super happy to see Zach is getting more integrated, at least in the fast break game.
Yeah.
That was beautiful to see. So they're finding ways to integrate them. We just got to keep it going. But we're going to need a backup point somehow. Anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Dirk. Grant, this is a decent question. From Flores? What's up, Flores? How would you improve the defense with the current Kings players?
I don't think you can improve it. I'm sorry. I've watched them play over 50 games, and it's the same problems, even with different people. So I think it is what it is. Can you improve it a little bit? Yeah, you probably could, but I don't see it. Hey, there's a question I want to get to real quick.
Yeah.
Why isn't Dalton Connect playing? Charlotte, by the way, is appealing to the league. The Lakers rescinding this deal. And I don't know if that's part of it, but I read that before we went on tonight, which I thought was very interesting.
Good job by you. I had not read that they are appealing. I wonder what the process is for that.
I don't know, but if the Lakers team doctors say that a player does not pass the physical, that's their prerogative.
Right. It's not something that's subjective.
They're asking the league to look into it, but because the Lakers did their due diligence on Williams before they consummated the trade, and they were good with what they saw, with a caveat. They came out and said, we are satisfied with what we have seen, but we will also rely on our own physical and our doctors before we make the trade official. They were very open about that.
Yeah. Well, good job by them. Very good job by them
because you can't make a trade like that and get damaged goods.
No, I think it's so interesting though, because we just went through this. Well, we've been through it now for 3 deadlines with a team that we think has a window to possibly make some noise. And everybody's like, why don't you make a move? Why don't you make a move? And those are the things fans don't think about. Due diligence about injuries, getting, the different reports. And,
exactly.
And on the flip side of that, how much, because it doesn't exactly benefit the other team to provide you with a ton of documentation to help things out if you're not super high on trading the play. You know what I mean? It's just a really interesting dynamic how that works out.
Luka making a start tonight for the Lakers, and they have only gone up by a score of 90-58 over the Jazz. Look out for the Lakers. They could be scary. I know the Jazz are terrible, but don't sleep on them. Hey, don't sleep on Sunrise Landing if you're looking to relocate. Sunrise Landing in Calusa is awesome. It is the newest residential community. And all you need to do, folks, is go to CalusaSunrise.com to check out these beautiful models. Remember, no homeowners, no Mellorews. You have great access to the major roads like I-5, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. This is from Blazona Development and Sunrise Landing. Go to CalusaSunrise.com and you'll get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing.
Luka with 14 points and 5 assists so far in that one. Lakers up 90-63 on the Jazz. I did not think the Lakers would stick around this year, Grant. I'm still having a hard time with Luka thinking the Lakers stick around.
Oh, I think they stick around. I think they're going to be a top 6 team.
I just they don't have the size inside.
LeBron's playing very well.
LeBron is playing very well. It's a very good point.
And guess who else is playing very well? Austin Reeves. Is kicking it.
Did you see the list of Lakers that he joined with his 45-point game?
Yes. And I think having Jared Vanderbilt back gives them that lift off the bench for a need, for a need that they have. Listen, I'm not in love with Rui Hachimura, but he's pretty good when he's playing. You can't ignore him.
Yep, one of the worst non-trades. One of the worst swings that Monty never took, Grant.
That's correct. You want to know who else the Lakers are going to have on their team very soon?
Who?
Alex Len. And I'm going to tell you right now, Alex Len will be a very good fit for the Lakers coming off the bench. Do not sleep on that. With those players, Alex Len will be able to help them.
He's going to, I thought he was headed to, I want to say Indiana.
Nope,
he's going to LA now?
Nope.
Okay.
Did not sign with Indiana. When the trade was rescinded, his agent put the brakes on, and it looks like he's going to be ending up with the Lakers. They never consummated the deal with the Pacers. And when the deal fell through with the Hornets, Alex Len became on the Lakers' radar.
Incredible. Let's bring our good buddy on the phones, Umar in. What's up, Umar?
Hey there, Grant. Ryan, my mic working this time? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great to speak to you all. By the way, Ryan, I'd seen on Twitter, I think it was your wife's birthday, so happy birthday to her from us all.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. And I wanted to ask if you guys have talked about the lineups, the net ratings for the lineups recently. I remember that one of prior to the Fox trade, the Keon Ellis lineup, it had an extraordinary net rating, and that was one of the arguments of having Keon in the starting lineup. And do we have any clarity on that with now Levine and DeMar? And I know that there's conversations about, okay, do we bring one of them off of the bench? And Grant, happy to have your wisdom here.
As far as since the trade, the net rating since the trade doesn't mean anything to me because of the caliber of teams that you've played and the injuries that the other teams have had. So I wouldn't go by a net rating based on the trade. I need a much larger sample size. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, somebody on X sent me a 48-minute sample size of one of those net ratings, pointed it out. I need more than that. I'm 100% with
for
Grant.
sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Makes sense. And then finally, Grant, any thoughts on the great Hubie Brown? If you've had any experiences, stories, what a wonderful man, a true gentleman, if there was one. So happy to hear any stories or thoughts.
I never met Hubie. My paths never crossed with Hubie, unfortunately. But he's synonymous with basketball, and he's synonymous with the NBA. And wow, that's all I can say as well. But I never met Hubie.
I find that so incredible. So Jerry gave me a call last night. We were just talking hoops and catching up. And I was like, hey, tell me about Hubie. Any good stories? And he's like, I only had the pleasure of meeting him once, and that was about it. And I was going to ask you the same thing. I will say this. I'm not sure if you saw what they did after the game, how the players came up, the referees handed him the game ball.
I watched it all. I saw
what
all
a
the
tribute. What a
it was
tribute.
phenomenal. Yep, to give him the game ball and everything else, it was fabulous. Yep,
So cool.
fabulous.
And
Yep.
Dickie V as well. He returned to the booth.
So great. I never met Dickie V either.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, Hubie blows me away more than Dickie V. I could understand the Dickie V thing, but Hubie, that's in your. Yeah, I guess you guys just barely missed, right?
I only talked to Jerry West once in my life, and Jerry. Well, now that he's no longer with us, I was standing at Staples Center, getting ready for a Clippers game. It was about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes before the horn sounded. And I'm standing next to Doug. And Jerry comes up to me. And again, I've never talked to Jerry West.
Yeah.
And Jerry unloads on Weber. Unloads on him. And again, I've never talked to Jerry. Comes up and said, and did not even mention Chris by name. Said, hey, you have a former star that's on national TV. What a blankety blank, blank, blank piece of blank, blank, blank. And I'm looking at Jerry, and I honestly just start laughing because I can't believe that that's the logo of the NBA coming up to me when we have never talked, saying that. And he turned around and walked out. And Doug looked at me and goes, "Whoa, whoa!" And I was like, "Oh my God!"
Grant's
it was
like, what happened? Is that Jerry West?
I swear on my children's lives, that is a true story.
Was there anybody? We're gonna get back to the calls in a second. Was there anybody that you were doing a game, that you're doing a Kings game, and somebody that you thought wouldn't know who you were, that did know who you were, and it just...
Oh yeah. Well, I don't like talking about this stuff, but I'm with Jerry, and we're doing a live open. We're live, and I can't even remember what arena we were in. It wasn't Sacramento. We were on the road, but Austin Rivers was on the other team, and I quite frankly, right now, I can't remember the team. And he puts his head in between me and Jerry while we're live and says, "If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball."
That is awesome.
I started laughing, and so like stuff like that, I don't know.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Were you able to keep it together when he did it?
I was like, it was like a wow,
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to talk to you guys again.
As always, what's up, buddy?
I don't know if you touched over this yet, Ryan, but everyone was talking about like the All-Star snub and all that stuff. Like, everyone should know that the only reason Kyrie was chosen was because he's an American player, and with the format that they're trying to achieve, right, Ryan? I think you said there's the American team, there's the Gen Z team, which is Kenny's team, and then Charles's team is supposed to be the international team.
I haven't heard that. Adam Silver, when he was over in Paris
that's not true.
Yeah, when Adam Silver was in Paris for Wemby Week, coincidentally, it was the same time as Fashion Week in Paris, Grant. I know you keep track of those things, but
I do.
Anyways, he was asked about whether or not that could be a format, USA versus the world. And the answer in short was no, because even though it makes sense to us, it would be a competitive matchup. The USA pool to pick from for All-Stars is much bigger than the international pool. So the USA pool would not have as many opportunities to have All-Stars versus the internationals.
So I don't think it was actually like formally announced as that's what they're doing, but I remember after the All-Star draft on TNT, that's what everyone was saying, like they're trying to make it like that. So if you look at Shaq's team, it's LeBron, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis. And if you look at Kenny's team, it's Jaren Jackson, Anthony Edwards. It's all like the younger players, under 25, 26. And then Chuck's team is Giannis, it's Jokic, it's SGA, it's all the international players. So it would make sense that Anthony Davis, an American player, gets injured. They bring up Kyrie Irving. Or in the same breath, like I bet you if it was Jokic or Wemby that got hurt, they would bring up Sabonis to match that criteria. So if you look at the teams, see, this is all American players. Not a single player on Shaq's team is an international player or young. And then Team Kenny is the Gen Z team. See, they're all a lot younger players. And then Charles is all international. So although they didn't formally announce it, you could tell that's what they're trying to do. Am
What
I
about
wrong?
Donovan Mitchell?
How about that?
You guys see the trend though, right?
What about Karl Anthony Towns?
Yeah, I mean those two.
I see the trend. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I think that's more of a coincidence than anything else, but I could be wrong. But there's no international team in this year's All-Star game. Not like verbatim. One of the team has to be a group of international players.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was like a conspiracy people were talking about. And I thought that's probably the reason why they brought Kyrie, although it should have been Sabonis. But yeah, more than likely, could be a coincidence as well.
To be quite honest with you, I never thought I would hear this at an All-Star game. This was Adam Silver last All-Star game making the trophy presentation to the winners.
And to the Eastern Conference All-Stars, you scored the most points. Well, congratulations.
So I'm at this point, I could see the NBA, Adam Silver doing anything to push a narrative to get some interest in this, because international, just like you said, versus Team USA has always been asked for by the fans. That would be perfect by the fans until the international team wins, Grant.
I think I would actually pick the international team to win because they would take it a lot more serious.
I just had one quick question for Grant. So you've been, calling games for so many years, and you're a legend, like everyone says. I was just wondering, like, if you have a standalone moment that you saw on the court, or like what one of your greatest moments was on the court that you've seen with your own eyes. For example, like Tyreek Evans' game winner, like you got to witness that.
That doesn't even come close. First of all, thank you for the compliment. I'm not even a legend in my own home, but thank you. The greatest thing I've ever seen was Klay Thompson scoring 37 points in the third quarter.
What was it before that?
The 35-point comeback at Chicago in the second half, halfway through the third quarter, where Tyreek was just unbelievable. Those two moments stick out. The first playoff game at Arco Arena, Kings Sonics, that sticks out. Those are my three moments.
I will never forget that moment when they came out to, I remember the song, Walk With Me, Jimmy Page and a rapper that's in jail. And it was bonkers, like chills thinking about it. I wish you could find that online somewhere.
It was unbelievable. All right. So what are you doing your Kings Court tomorrow?
I am. We will be here at 2:00 talking about this one, getting you ready for the Kings and the Pelicans to lead us into the All-Star break.
I will do a show tomorrow at 8:00 Pacific.
Okay.
And don't forget, on Wednesday, Sean Salisbury will wrap up the football season at 3:00. What time's the Kings Pelicans game?
I believe it is at 5. Let me pull that right here since I'm not Zach and I have a schedule handy. The Kings and the Pels play at 5. Yeah.
All right. What time's your pregame show start?
On 5:00 games, I usually I run straight through. I already told Jerry no roundtable because of the game.
Yeah, I really want to get Sean in.
So I can move the Kings Court. I'll just do a pregame then. So do Sean Super Bowl.
Yeah, because the reason why I say that, the Kings play on the next day too. They have 2 games back to back, and I don't want to push Sean all the way till Friday. So I really want to get Sean in.
Yeah, so just do Sean, and then I'll do pregame right after that. So perfect.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. The beam is lit. The Kings win in overtime in a thrilling game. DeMar DeRozan with 42, and we've got a full day for you tomorrow right here on If You Don't Like That. Ryno, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, partner. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody out there as well.
Take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.